Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another webinar with RankSense. I'm Brittany, and I'll just be going through the chat and answer some of your questions. Today, we're joined by Michael from Interacto, and he's going to demonstrate how to get started with NLP and Python for SEO. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Mara. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you.
We're happy to have you. Where are you from?
I'm from Belgium.
Excellent. So it's late for you now.
Yeah, it's already 8 o'clock in the evening. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for staying up for us.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about your background, how you got into SEO?
Well, I did study a master in business economics. And then, yeah, my first job, it was in 2008, and it was already in SEO, so a long time ago. But yeah,
A nice long career in SEO.
Yeah.
And
then, yeah, I got fired, but I already started my company when I did study, and it was like an online survey software startup with only one person, me.
So you started your startup while you were still in college?
Yeah, right after that, and then yeah, it worked really well because I got really high SEO rankings.
Nice. And this was for a survey website.
Yes.
For people to create surveys.
Indeed.
Excellent. Sorry about that. My dogs are going nuts. And can you tell us a bit about how that led you to where you are now?
Yeah. Now I'm working at Interacto, and it's yeah, one of the biggest digital agencies in Belgium and the Netherlands. We are really expanding a lot. I work as SEO domain lead, so all teams about mainly the technical and data part of SEO.
Excellent. And how did you get started with Python?
Well, data science, it was really hot, getting hot a couple of years ago. And I also am very interested in data. And that's why I also did a 5-day boot camp about Python and data science. And that's where I get started with Python. And it was like, 2 years ago. So.
Wow, that's great. Just 5-day boot camp, and here you are. So you were self-taught after that then? Yeah,
after that I tried to do my own scripts, and I tried to combine all kinds of data from Google Analytics Search Console with Python to get more insights. And yeah, it's really, and I'm using Python quite a lot actually. So in my daily job, so it's really cool to automate teams.
For sure. Can you tell me more about maybe an example of how you use Python in a day-to-day SEO work?
An example will be the script in this webinar.
Sure.
But also for like if you want to make a data studio report with all kinds of data about keywords like Search Console data, but also data from the SEMrush API. And then you can combine all these data sources and really get something, get it in a spreadsheet and then visualize it in Data Studio in ways you probably can do with spreadsheets. Yeah.
That's great. I'm sure you can make a lot of cool reports that way.
Yeah.
So especially with being self-taught in Python, I'm going to imagine that that didn't always go smoothly all the time. Can you tell us about some of the obstacles that you faced while you were learning Python?
Yeah, well, an obstacle would be to view at some really high-end Python presentations of really advanced persons like Hamlet Batista and realize like, oh, it's so difficult, I won't be able to do it. But actually, if you go step by step, then you can make progress. And actually, with Python, there's so much to find online all over the internet that it's really easy to teach yourself.
And there's a very helpful Python community out there too, so that's always a big help.
Yeah, there's a growing Python for SEO community. Also thanks to Hamlet, of course. He was a big part of it. So yeah.
He got the ball rolling for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
And so, do you have any advice for somebody who's just getting started with Python, and any particular resources you want to recommend or anything like that?
Yeah, I think there's so much to find online. I think Data Camp is a good one to get started with the online tutorials.
Yeah, and DataCamp is a paid service, but they include a tool where you can write code directly in the tool, submit it, and see if it works. And so it's not just learning from videos, it's actually doing it. So.
Yeah, you learn the most by just thinking about something and then try to do it yourself.
Absolutely. And so today we're going to be talking about natural language processing. Can you give like a basic overview of what natural language processing is?
Natural language processing is like making analysis of natural language, like English, for example, but with the help of algorithms and computers. And yeah, there are both basic natural language processing tasks like counting words or translating words or getting typos, but there are also more advanced use like chatbots and content generation and stuff like that. So it's all things that has to do with both language and algorithms and programming.
Mm-hmm. And can you explain a little bit of, behind the scenes, how does that work?
Well, you actually have a lot of Python modules and packages you can use.
Mm-hmm. And so the one that we're working with today, remind me what it's called.
Snowball Stemmer.
Mm-hmm.
NLTK.
NLTK, that's what I was looking for, yes. And so can you give a bit of an overview of what your script is doing, what and how it's using NLP?
Well, my script, it will compare the terms the Google visitor uses, and it will compare it with the meta titles of your web pages.
Mhm.
And so it will count the common words in BERT, but it will also make the distinction between singular and plural. So it's like that's the same word actually. So it will account for this kind of differences.
Mm-hmm. So we're looking at the list of queries that come into a page, the meta titles on the page, and then we're using NLP to compare them to see if there's anything missing. And the reason we're using NLP is because we're not looking for just an exact match, is the exact query in the title, but we want to give it some flexibility, like if it's plural versus singular. Am I following?
Yeah, that's indeed what the script is doing. Yeah.
Excellent. So do you want to share your screen and show us how you're able to do that?
Okay. Now, this the sheet we will get started from. And this contains all the URL of your website and the meta title. So actually you can get this from a tool like Streaming Frog.
Mm-hmm.
And in the other tab, you find actually the Search Console data of the top queries on your website by page. And this you can get from a tool like Search Analytics for Sheets or Supermetrics very easily. So, and now you want to compare the queries and the meta titles actually. And you see in the first step, you can change the language. In Belgium, we have 3 different languages for 11 million people, so I have to use it.
Sure.
Yeah. And then we will load all the modules. So the pandas module, it's one I use in almost every script. It's for displaying data and analyzing data. I
It's
also
a little
use,
bit like Excel in Python form, right?
yeah, indeed. It's an improved version of Excel, like 100 times faster.
Yes. Faster and able to do more things.
Yes. Then the next 2 modules, they are just for uploading your files, CSV files from the sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also will use 2 modules that are not yet available in the default Colab environment. One is a module stop words, and this will contain all stop words like and, in, or, so the very tiny words without any meaning, because we want to exclude them from the analysis.
So basically, later on, we don't want to consider toys for a 2-year-old to be different from toys 2-year-old, right?
Yes, indeed.
And so we need to have this module to be able to tell the difference, or to consider them the same, rather.
Yeah, with this model you can consider the same if only a stop word is different.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also have the Python Levenstein module. Actually, it's a good module to filter out typos and with this Levenstein distance, it's the edit distance of a string. Like between cat and dog, you have a Levenstein distance of 3 because 3 tokens are changed. With between cat and cap, you only have a Levenstein distance of 1.
Okay, understood. So by looking at the distance between words, meaning how many letters are different, we can tell if there's 2 words that are variations of the same word, like a typo.
Indeed, yeah.
Great.
And then also use the regex module and the NLTK module. It's like the default module for NLP programs. And it will be used for splitting the queries and the meta titles into different words. And then, the Snowball Stemmer, it's another NLP library. And this one, it will stem a word. So like from make a plural word, a singular word, or if there is a verb that is conjugated, it will take the stem of the verb.
So this way, we're just considering singular and the verb stem so that we are ultimately not going to consider it different if the verb tense is different.
Yes, indeed.
And do you know if NLTK is available in all major languages?
Yes, it's really available in a lot of languages. So don't know how many, but I think all major languages. So.
Okay, excellent. And then anything else that we're importing here?
No, actually, the Levenstein module that we installed and the stopword module that we installed. And then, we also have to download 2 NLTK library files.
And for people who are totally new to Google Colab, what you just did was you clicked that little play button and that ran all of the code inside of this box, only what's inside of this box.
Indeed. So either you can click on Shift and Enter at the same time, or you can click on the play button.
Excellent. So now we've run that much and we can go on to step 2.
Yeah, so now we did install the modules, and now we are just going to upload our CSV file. So we get started with the page titles. You see that, by using these files.upload, it's also a very useful collab feature to display upload fields within Google Colab.
So that makes your button appear that says to choose a file.
Yeah, and then I will choose my file. And now what happens is I will read the file name, and I will import this file into a data frame. So I created a data frame. They have titles with pandas, the read CSV function.
Very nice. So this is where we start getting into this Excel version of for Python. So now it has been loaded into a data frame.
Yes. This is the file name, and if you see in this script, I split this string that only the part between the second quote and the third quote is used as file name. Yeah.
Because I was wondering why you needed to use the split function there, and you wanted to show me that, well, it gives you gobbledygook if you don't do that.
It's like it's just the way that the uploaded here is used by Google Colab. They really display all of the file, but you only need the title of the file.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then we are going to do the same, but for the other CSV file, the one with the queries. And yeah, here also the same thing. We have now a pandas data frame with the queries and the page. So for every top query, you can find a page.
Okay, great. So now we have both files loaded.
And now what we are going to do now is combine these files. And you see that both files have a column page. So we will merge them on the page column.
So instead of having two separate data frames, now we just have one that has all of the information we need.
Yeah, indeed.
Great.
Then in the next part, I'm going to count the number of words, but I won't include the stop words. So you see here you can make a list of stop words by language. So the language code was EN for English. And then I will run a function that first will split the sentence into different words with the NLTK function word tokenize. And then I will, just make a list with all the words that are not stop words by looping over, these words in the word tokenizer. I will include them in the list if they are not a stop words. And then I will just count the number of words with the len function.
Okay, great. So we are taking this is the query, or is it the title? Oh, we're going to do it to both.
Yeah, we are going to do it for both. So for both the query and the title, we are going to make a new column. And in this column, you can there will be the number of the words in the query and the number of words in the title.
So this is telling us how many words are in each, not counting any small stop words like of, and.
Indeed. So I will run the query. And you see, for example, here, we have the query toy for a 2-year-old. And it will count it as 4 because the 4 and the A will not be counted. And here the same, we won't count the 4 with just games and toddlers. And we get the number of 2.
Excellent.
So in the next step, we will count the number of common words within the query and the page title. And therefore, I will use the Snowball Stemmer module that will take the stem of the word. And I also, will make a list of words in the title and then stem the list of words in the title. So for every for the title, it will be we will make a list with all the stemmed words in that. And we will do the same for the query.
And so what we're doing here is making sure that we remove any plurals, we remove any verb conjugations, and we just have the stem of the word.
Indeed, yeah.
And this is why it's called natural language processing. We're taking words, which usually a script like Python wouldn't understand a word, but with natural language processing, it's able to find what is the stem of a verb or what is the singular version of a noun.
Yeah, and that's also the way why using these libraries, it's much more efficient than using a spreadsheet, because you can't have all these kind of rules within a spreadsheet. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not realistic.
And yeah, also what I do here is just make a title of the page without any spaces or special characters. So I remove the spaces here, and I remove the special characters over here. So with a regex that will only keep the words and not the special characters.
So we've taken the title of the page and we are replacing all of the spaces and only having the words all next to each other.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, great.
And then I just initialize two variables: the Liebenstein distance and the number of common words. And then I will look through all the words within the query with the stemmed words. I will first check if it's in a stop word, if it's not a stop word, because if it's a stop word, we will just ignore it. Sure. And then I will see if the word is present in the title. But the title where the characters and the spaces are replaced. And if the word is present there, then you know it's a common word between query and page title. Okay. Otherwise, I will, so if the word is not literally found, then I will use another approach, and there you see that I also use the stemmed version of the title words, and then I will calculate the edit distance between the stem of the title word and the stem of the query word, and then I can find if they differ a lot or not, and if they are very close to each other, like a percentual distance of less than 15%, I will count it as a common word.
And so that's designed to, it's not that we're catching plurals or verb conjugations anymore because we already took care of those. So this would mostly be used for typos, right? Is there any other reason we would use this?
Yeah, it's mostly used for typos.
Okay.
So if I run this cell, you see like in the second row over here, there is a typo in the word unicorn. Like here with an M and here with an N, but it will count it as a common word. So you have 3 common words. So you can.
And we also have the plural counted as the same word.
Yeah, and actually in the also in the second row, you see that the singular and plural, it's counted the same word. Yeah.
Great.
And now I will use a useful Google Colab extension. And actually, I only know it for about 2 weeks because I picked it up somewhere in the SEO Twitter community. So if you follow them, you also learn a lot of useful tricks. And then you can see my data frame, and it will be sorted by the number of common words. And then you immediately can spot some improvements, like here for the basketball ring, the query that the user will use will differ a lot from your page title. So you may update it.
Mm-hmm. And then you can also spot gaps sometimes too, where maybe you need a different kind of page.
Yes, indeed. You can also sometimes spot gaps, and also there it's really useful. Like you can say, instead of the category toddlers, you could make a separate page for 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds.
Sure.
Yeah. Or maybe here for the ADHD kids, that you can make some blog post about best tools for ADHD kids, and then you will also rank better.
Sure.
And then actually these are the scripts. I also have a CSV export of it. For the case that you have to share it with a client or something like that, and then it will get available here, the export files, and you can download it. Yeah. Or if you want to share it with your content SEO people, then they can work further on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, if you wanted to just work in this table, there's a filter button where you can filter the queries or the pages. Let's say, you know, all of your product URLs have /p in them or something like that, then you could filter and search for those.
Yeah, if you say like I only want unicorn keywords, then you can unicorn page, then you can just use this kind of filters.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you also can combine the filters really way more easy than in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, easier and faster.
Yeah.
So I know that I guess there's 2 other things that I want to cover here, because one is a way that I see that I can use this, but then I know that you also have a little bit more of an advanced version of this that is a little more convenient. So do you want to explain what that one is?
Yes. I also made another Colab notebook with this one. Instead of starting from the spreadsheet, it will get the data which is in the sheet automatically.
Nice. So we're not going to upload 2 files. We're just going to go grab that data.
Indeed.
Excellent. And I think that this is a great one to learn also for anyone who's learning Python for SEO, because being able to just get Search Console data directly into your Google Colab is super useful.
Yeah, I will demonstrate it. So you see that here I added 2 additional fields, one for the Google Search Console domain, and another one for the name of the brand, so you can filter out branded queries.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, because you have to connect with the Search Console API, you also need to upload your credentials file.
Mm-hmm. And you would get this from the API. I forget exactly where you get this from, actually.
The Google Developer Console. There you can get it for free, actually, and so you can enable the Search Console API and get a key for accessing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so this key gives full access to your Search Console account. So you don't share it with anybody, maybe unless they already have access to your Search Console account.
Indeed, yeah. And for the modules, you see that I also install the Google Search Console module.
Mm-hmm.
And I also will install a beautiful soup and requests module, and these two modules we will use for scraping the meta title of the page, so you don't have to have the CSV file with titles anymore. So
Beautiful Soup sort of works like a crawler, a scraper tool, like Screaming Frog, where you would use Screaming Frog to get the titles. Instead, we're just going to use Beautiful Soup to go visit those pages, grab the title, and give it to us.
Yeah, it's the Python equivalent of Screaming Frog.
Very nice.
And here you will see I will authenticate with the Google Search Console using my credential file.
Mm-hmm.
And I will select the right account with the domain of the variable I used. And then I will select the date from today for the previous 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I will get the queries and the dates.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will look through the report and add all the keywords and the page, and also the clicks, impressions, CTR, and position within a list, the keyword list, and then I will convert it to a data frame.
Mm-hmm. So we're just feeding information into our little Excel within Python.
Yes, indeed. And then I will rename the columns to make it easier. Also will set an index, and then I only will limit the amount of queries to 100 for this example.
That was one thing I was wondering about, because sometimes when I have tried to use the Search Console API within Colab, it just times out because there's too much data. Sometimes you have to move over to a Jupyter notebook or something like that if it just keeps going and going.
Yeah, but I only use the small website, so it's okay.
That's good.
And then this function, it will scrape the meta title of a certain URL, and it will use the requests module to scrape the URL, and the beautiful soup module to interpret the HTML, and then we will find the meta title of the web page and return it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we make a new column in the data frame title, and we use this function for every landing page, then we get our new data frame. And of course, this takes a bit more time because it has to strip all the 100 URLs which are in the data frame file.
So right now, this is similar to when you start your Screaming Frog crawling, you press go and it takes a while to go through all of those pages, but we aren't looking at, in Screaming Frog, you see the progress. Here we just see a spinning circle. So we just have to remember to be patient.
Yes, indeed.
And so now we're getting into things that look familiar from earlier, yes?
Yeah, actually, from now on, the code is like exactly the same as the previous notebook. So you can already execute it. Also, this one is completely the same.
Mm-hmm.
The language Dutch is not important. I will try it with a small capital.
Oh, I see.
Okay, now it's look better.
Yes.
And also here we are going to use the upgraded Colab data table, so we can directly spot some improvements. Like here is a general page about maintaining a garden, but we see lots of queries with lava or lava stones, and that tells us that probably we will need to write a blog about how lava stones can help you in maintaining a garden.
So this is an example where in a real life site, we're finding situations where people are searching for something, but our content doesn't exactly match it. So it gives us an idea of new content to create.
Yes, indeed. So it's something I use a lot for new customers, that I can say like, hey, you are scoring somewhat for these keywords, but if you would either make a new article about these keywords or improve the title text, you can immediately score much better and get more clicks to your website.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for showing us all of this. I want to show how I see a way for this to connect something that we have worked on at RankSense before. So if I can share my screen.
Okay, I will stop.
So our late founder, Hamlet, published this article in December about automated title tag optimization, and he's using deep learning for this. And what we have found when we have gone and started working on this is we really need to clean up the list of queries that we have and make sure that it's not just a plural version of the query or, you know, a typo of the query. We want to only use we want to only identify that the keyword needs to be added if we get rid of all of those things, the stop words. So I won't do the full walkthrough of this article. We'll put this in the chat so that anybody can review it on their own time. But what this is doing is if you feed it a title, a meta title, and you give it a list of keywords for each meta title that you want to incorporate, it's able to add the keywords in a way that sounds natural. So if we scroll down a bit to the examples, So the original title here, 20 creative Instagram news ideas to engage your followers. The target keyword was what to post on Instagram story. And this was how it incorporated that to adjust it to the keyword. So, you know, if you have a situation where you've gone through with a script like this one, you've identified the keywords that are not present in the title, getting rid of the stop words, getting rid of the typos, and you found a list of keywords that need to be added, this is able to automate that. It's able to insert those keywords in a way that sounds natural and with deep learning. And even though all of these modules that we're using are really complicated on the back end, you know, for me to understand how the machine learning was built is not necessary to be able to use these tools. We're able to use them without necessarily knowing how the soup was made, for example. So I'll just throw this link in the chat that I had for today, but I'm going to see if there's any questions from the audience. Just a second, I'm having a Zoom lag here. So one question that I had seen come in, to be sure, but I would think that Arabic is so common that it's probably been covered by NLTK. But all you would need to do is just Google NLTK Arabic and see if you can find that. Let me see. My Zoom has unfrozen now. So I do see that there's some Arabic for NLTK. And so that makes it flexible for that purpose. All right, well, I am still having Zoom difficulties. So we will put the link to that article I was showing in the emails that go out after this webinar. But thank you so much, Mikhail, for being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you to the audience for joining us, and to follow us on Twitter, follow our YouTube channel. That's where this recording will be posted. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.